Right, hello, welcome back to the Your Golf Travel podcast. And today we're here to debunk some myths. Have you ever watched a professional play a golf course and thought, that looks easy. I could easily shoot my handicap, when they're out there shooting 61, 62, 63s. And thought, it's so easy. But today we're going to debunk it. I'm here with Sam, who is a +3 handicapper.
Once upon a time, yeah. I guess that is my official handicap still now. But yeah, I was formerly a professional golfer, played 7 years between the sort of Euro Pro Tour and Challenge Tour. After that, I caddied for 3 years on the DP World Tour. So yeah, I've had a pretty good bit of experience in the professional sort of playing and caddying environment.
So a very, very good golfer. I wish I was a +3.
It takes a lot of hard work and effort.
And I'm struggling off 9. I'm not really. I feel like I'm a 9 handicapper, but I'm really off 20.
Very good, mate. Single figure golfer. Very, very good.
Just give myself a pat on the back. So the first question, on a standard European Tour course during a tournament, what would a scratch golfer shoot?
It's a tricky one to sort of answer with one answer. The venues do vary quite considerably on the DP World Tour. PGA Tour slightly different. They're all pretty tough, top end, tough setups. But the European Tour is quite varied. All your sort of flagship events like your Wentworths, Italian Opens, French Opens, they're all extremely difficult tests of golf. But on the flip side of that, you do have a lot of sort of fill-in venues that you won't see the bigger crowds at, that often are quite not easy, never easy on tour, but you would see your standard scratch golfer probably shooting level par, if not better round. But if you flip that to sort of Valderrama, you're going to be struggling to break 85 as a scratch golfer. You see the winning scores around there every year. Round about the level par mark, just really gives you a good idea as to how tough some of the courses can be set up. So no one answer fits all there, but quite a mix.
Yeah, so just to vary between levels of courses.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've obviously played and caddied at a fair few golf courses. What's the one that is the toughest in competition? Or have you just answered that maybe?
Yeah, no, I've actually never caddied around Valderrama.
No?
I wish I had, but the guys I was working for at the time, either A, weren't straight in the event, or B, I just started caddying after that point. But for the course I have caddied at, I'd have to say the Green Eagle is the toughest. It's a golf course over in Germany. They play, it's the BMW there every year. And it's just an absolute monster. It should be renamed the Green Monster instead of the Green Eagle. It's just obscene. It's 7,700 yards from the tips. It's an absolute monster. 6 par 5s. Can't reach any of them unless you're like the super long hitter. Talking Wilco, your neighbour, South African guy, or maybe Rory. So yeah, I would say that is probably the toughest I've seen.
What made the course so tricky?
It's just purely the sheer length of the course,
yeah.
I'd say. It's just a monster. You think your standard average UK golf course being 6,300, 6,500 yards. You then add, effectively another 3 or 4 par 4s within that length. Within 18 holes, you've got the Green Eagle. It's just brutally long. That's all I can say about it. And ironically, it's actually the mid-length, more accurate golfers that do around there, because the top, longest hitters can't actually get to the greens into on the par 5s. So then it actually becomes a case of how good's your third shot. Yeah. So it's the guys that actually 100 yards and in on these 6 par 5s that are eating up the golf course. You don't necessarily see a really long hitter winning this tournament, but it's just the sheer length of it. Really, really, really long.
But they're all still shooting under par around there. So
just about. I think the winning scores there are between sort of 7 and 12 under, I think, historically. So again, you take that versus your Gran Canaria or Tenerife Opens at 20 plus under. It's a real tough test to golf.
So is there one hole on that golf course that gave you the shivers?
Yeah, and again, it's very ironic again that it's actually the shortest hole on the golf course. It's a par 3 14th. It's around about 155 yards long. That is the one that gives you shivers when you're playing it. You've got a green that's quite literally 3 or 4 paces wide from start to back. You've got a steep drop off short right. You've got a huge bank to the left. If you bail out left, you've got a near on impossible chip back towards the water down the hill. And I've seen guys hitting wedges in there and coming off 6s, 7s, 8s. One lad had a 14 there.
Wow.
European Tour professional golfer. So, funnily enough, longest golf course on the tour, but it's the shortest hole that gave me the shivers. That's for sure.
And what was the most impressive thing you saw from a pro there?
Actually, I think this year, I actually wasn't there this year. I've been working at Your Golf Travel since November. But a lad called Tom McNiven, Irish player, he had a very slender lead coming down the last hole. He was kind of behind a tree. If you've seen it on TV, you'll know what I'm talking about. Big old lake short of the green. He's got 5 iron in his hands, has to draw this thing 20 plus yards, and hits it to about 8 feet and wins the tournament in style. Absolutely amazing. Impressive stuff.
Just when you needed the shot like that.
Just when he needed it.
Yeah.
Just when he needed it.
Which was the easiest course on tour? And is there any courses that you'll be able to break par for 4 rounds?
Yeah. I'd say it's not a regular European Tour event. It was kind of filled in COVID. But there are still courses out there of similar sort of, test of golf, not as difficult as some of these bigger courses. I would say the Gran Canaria Open at Metanorris Golf.
Yep.
I think the winning score was 28 under par. Very, very forgiving off the tee, quite short, tons of birdie opportunities. So I'd fancy myself to shoot under par around there, I hope.
So which course would you recommend to people to play if they're not a pro?
Good question. I think if we're talking the UK, I'd probably all of the open venues. I know they're predominantly links golf courses, but I just don't think you can beat the sort of the history and the quality, the sheer quality of the links golf courses that they play the Open Championship on. They can be extremely forgiving when it's calm conditions, but they can also be some of the toughest golf courses you'll ever play, which is fairly standard for links golf when the weather comes in. You've got your wind, your rain. You see some of the winning scores of Open Championships. I've played in many top amateur championships where 15 over par wins the tournament for the best golfers around the world. So I would go with links golf for sure. If we're talking about parkland, there's a fantastic hidden gem that always stands out to me, not too far from where I live, down in Bournemouth, called Remedy Oak. An absolute must play. I don't think many people have heard about it outside of that small area, but definitely worth a go.
So definitely if you're heading down to Bournemouth for a tour, chuck that one in there.
Absolutely. Yeah. That with Parkstone, Broadstone, you've got some fantastic golf down there, but as far as sort of hidden gems go, you're not a professional, you want to enjoy your golf, that's a great spot for you.
So let's say if you're pretty new to golf and you want to follow the footsteps of the pros, you're watching the Open Championship on TV and you're wanting to get out there on these courses. Are there any courses which you would recommend?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Obviously being pretty new to golf, because the standard of the golf courses you play and the ones you'd want to play are genuinely the toughest. If you're looking at your flagship events like your BMW Wentworth event, you've got your French Opens, you've got your Valderramas, they're going to be extremely difficult for your new golfers. So quite a tricky one to answer in that regard. I'd be looking pretty much at the scores for the events to give you an idea. I want to actually follow a pro tournament. I want to follow where pros have played. Go and look at the scoring. And if the scoring is quite considerably lower than level par, then I'd go and give it a crack. Because you A, follow in their footsteps, and B, probably get some sort of enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, and I love that about going to a course which obviously has a tournament on. Obviously, we saw last week the K Club, they have that plaque in the middle of the fairway where Rory hit a shot.
Amazing.
And you can go and try and recreate it yourself. You might not quite recreate it, but you can give it a go.
Yeah.
So, on to the final question. So, you've got a weekend away with your friends, with your golf mates, and you've got to pick 3 championship courses, all within a relatively the same area. So you could be like Kent maybe, Royal St. Paul, Sandwich, Royal St. George's. But this could be anywhere in the world. Where would you go?
It's a weekend away. This is probably a bit too far for a weekend away, but I can't think further than my sort of roots, which is New Zealand. My family are all Kiwis.
Okay.
Glorious part of the world. And if you haven't been already, there's just unbelievable set of golf courses. Wow, there's actually one at the moment. The second one's being built. It's called Tara Iti. Tara Iti. Absolutely phenomenal, world class, one of the best golf venues in the world. And the owner there has just decided that he's going to put another golf course on site. It's called the Te Links. Probably got that pronunciation wrong, but absolutely off the charts. So that's going to be 2 of the best golf courses you'll ever play. A couple of hours north of Auckland. And as a third, again, it's not quite in that same area, but an absolute must-play when in New Zealand is down by Lake Taupo. So it's quite a bit south of Auckland, but a place called Wairaki. Sort of doubles down as a nature reserve. Incredible, owned by a American billionaire, and it's absolutely spectacular. So that's where I'll be going.
That would be an incredible trip. I think every course I see in New Zealand just looks absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it's just the scenery. The golf course is almost secondary. Although they're fantastic golf courses, the scenery is just amazing.
But yeah, that's it. That wraps up this podcast. Thank you very much, Sam, for joining us.
Very welcome.
Giving us a little insight behind the scene of professional golf and what it's like to play on some of the top courses in the world.
Awesome
and yeah,
stuff.
Thank you for watching. If you do want to find out any more information, like click the link in the description. Head to the Your Golf Travel website. Might even come through to Sam himself.
You never know.
Yeah. Thank you for watching.